Hello students, this side Bindu Chaudhary is with you in your social science class. Today we are covering our unit 2nd. The name of the unit is Parliament and the Making of the Laws. When we are discussing about the Parliament, then in chapter 3rd we are reading why do we need a Parliament, and in this chapter we covered two parts previously, and in that parts we covered about the needs of Parliament and how the Parliament had an important role in the central government. Yes, we had discussed class 6th and in that class we had discussed about the Panchayati Raj. In the next class we had discussed about the state legislative assemblies, and in this chapter we are reading about the central ministry, and in this one main important part of Parliament. Parliament consists President, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and in this one today we are covering part 3rd, the role of the Parliament. And in this role of the Parliament we had discussed about the first part, to make the national Parliament, and in the next part, yes, in part B we will discuss about the control, guide and inform the government. Yes, in this part we will discuss about the different works of the Parliament. So, ready with us? The Parliament while in session begins with the question hour. Yes, this one is the important part of the Parliament, question hour session, and in this question hour session all the members had an important role for this one. The question hour is an important mechanism through which MPs can elicit informations about the working of the government. जब हम बच्चों यह देखते हैं कि जो हमारे MPs हैं, मेंबर्स ऑफ पार्लियामेंट हैं, उनको इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन का आंसर निकलवाना होता है, उनको पूछना होता है फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट, ऑन दैट टाइम दे पुट अ क्वेश्चन इन द क्वेश्चन आवर, एंड इन दिस वन क्वेश्चन आवर दे elicit the information, important information related to the question. Main thing, this is a very important way through which the Parliament controls the executive. See, what's the important role of question hour in the Parliament? In the Parliament, when question hour session is going on that time all the Parliament members controls the executives by asking questions. The government is alerted to its shortcomings. हमें पता चलता है बच्चों कि सरकार की क्या क्या कमियां हैं, और जब क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन हमारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव्स पूछते हैं वहाँ पे, द मेन मोटो ऑफ क्वेश्चनिंग द पॉइंट इज द alerted to the shortcomings and also comes to know the opinion of the people through their representatives in the parliament. फॉर एग्ज़ाम्पल द MPs, हम MPs के माध्यम से ही अपने क्षेत्र से रिलीजन से रिलेटेड, रीजन से रिलेटेड जो भी प्रॉब्लम होती हैं उनको अराइज करवाते हैं, एंड आवर रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पुट्स देयर ओन इम्पोर्टेंट क्वेश्चंस आल्सो विद द हेल्प ऑफ द पीपल इन द क्वेश्चन आंसर सेशन. Asking questions of the government is a crucial task for every MP. See, what's the role of MP in question answer session? It's an important task. Why it's an important task? Because this one is a very crucial time when the question answer session held, and in that question answer session all the questions will give the answer by the representatives or the executives. The opposition parties play a critical role in the healthy functioning of a democracy. Yes, we had discussed in our previous part about the majority party and the opposition party. At present, when we are discussing the role of the opposition party, then opposition party had an important role with the healthy functioning of a democracy. They highlight drawbacks in various policies and programs of the government and mobilize popular support for their own policies. See, what's the role of the opposition party in the parliament? Opposition party always highlight the drawbacks in various policies and programs held by the government, and on that time they mobilize popular support of the people for their own policies. That's why opposition party had a great role in the parliament. The government gets valuable feedback and is kept on its toes by the question asked by the MPs. अब आपको पता चल गया होगा बच्चों कि गवर्नमेंट को भी एनी टाइम एक्टिव रहने के लिए जो एमपीज हैं वो इम्पॉर्टेंट रोल अदा कर रहे हैं, वो क्वेश्चंस पूछ रहे हैं रिलेटेड टू देयर एरियाज एंड रिलेटेड टू द मेन इम्पॉर्टेंट इश्यूज ऑफ नेशनल एंड इंटरनेशनल लेवल. ऑन दैट टाइम व्हाट हैपेंड स्टूडेंट्स, सबसे बड़ा क्वेश्चन आ जाता है जो मेजॉरिटी पार्टी है वहाँ पे. Yes, they are answering the questions. In addition, in all matters dealing with finances, the parliament's approval is crucial for the government. Yes, this one is also the important issue. If any financial matter is related, then what's happened student? हमने बात की तीन चीज़ों की. Yes, we had discussed about the president, then Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Then only and only finance bill is allowed and passed by the Lok Sabha. No need to go to the Rajya Sabha for the approval. But other than finance bill, all other bills wants the approval of Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, and that time House of Lords and House of Commoners had the important role in passing the bills. This is one of the several ways in which the parliament controls, guides and informs the government. See, the main theme of the point is checked out by us that several ways had there to control the government. अगर हम ये कह दें बच्चों कि कोई ऐसा व्यक्ति है जो ये कह दे कि मैं ही सब कुछ हूँ, monarchy system, you remembered monarchy system in Nepal and other parts, and on that time what happened student, whatever may be the guidelines are for the people, not for the king or the queens, and on that time what happens students, all laws became failure in front of the monarchies. Same कि यहाँ पे अगर हमारे जो गवर्नमेंट एग्जीक्यूटिव्स हैं वो भी अगर कुछ गलती करते हैं तो उसके लिए उनको क्या होगा, all are same in front of the laws, all are same in front of the constitution. That's the important role. तो इनके ऊपर भी एक निगरानी के लिए व्यक्ति होते हैं जो इनके पीछे मॉनिटरिंग करते हैं. The MPs as representatives of the people have a central role in controlling, guiding and informing parliament, and this is a key aspect of the functioning of the Indian democracy. See, the important role of MPs, members of parliaments, what the important role they had? They had an important role to control, to guide and to inform parliament, and in this way the important needs of the parliaments are going on easily. See, we have our third point, lawmaking. Lawmaking is the important point, and lawmaking is a significant function of the parliament. But we shall read this one, lawmaking, in our next chapter. In unit 2nd, we have next chapter about the lawmaking. So, we will discuss this further on. Next important topic we have about the who are the people in parliament. पार्लियामेंट में कौन से लोग होते हैं? Yes, we had discussed a lot about this one, but one by one we will discuss it here. Parliament now has more and more people from different backgrounds. Yes, different backgrounds, different regions, different states. For example, there are more rural members as also members from many regional parties. So, as regional parties had their own members, as well as rural members are also there to represent their own region. Groups and peoples that were till now unrepresented are beginning to get elected to parliament. See, before this one, when we had our British colonial rules, on that time what happened, students? On that time only one side favor is there, but what happened in free India, in the parliament what happened, groups and peoples were there to the parliament for what? For the unrepresented areas, for the areas which were not under considerable, but further on after parliament needed and after the constitution held, what happened? All the elected members of the parliament represent their own reasons, and not a single state or region is there to unrepresent. That's one. There has also been an increase in political participation from the Dalits and backward classes. So, one concept is that not only upper classes have a right to enter in the parliament by the elections. Everyone have a right. In constitution, every person had a right to elect themselves to be a representatives, and only on that condition what happens? Political participation from the Dalits as well as backward classes are also there. See, this is the table of what, students? Lok Sabha elections years voter turnout in percentage. We will discuss it in percentage session. See, we had our first Lok Sabha in 1951 and 52, and on that time what happens, student? 61.16% voters were there who voted to vote. Fourth Lok Sabha is there in the year 1967, and in that one 61.33 voters were there to elect their representatives. We have fifth Lok Sabha elections in the year 1971, and in that time we have 55.29 voter turnout in percentage. When we are discussing about the sixth Lok Sabha, which was held in the year 1977, and on that time what happens? 60.49 voters turnout was there. See, sometimes upraising, sometimes downraising. When we are considering about the 8th Lok Sabha, which was held in the year 1984 to 85, and in that time voters turnout was 64.01%. Same with 10th, which was held in the year 1991-92, 55.88 voters turnover was there, but see, downward position of the voters. When we are considering about 2004 14th Lok Sabha, and on that time what was the voters turnout? 57.98%. 15th Lok Sabha, which was held in the year 2009. See, it's an important table. You will learn these table with the first to this one 17th Lok Sabha with the years. And in that time 58.19 voter turnout percentage was there. When we are considering about the 16th Lok Sabha, which was held in the year 2014, what happens is, students? Voters turnout percentage was 66.40, and 17th, yes, the last one which was held in the 2019 year, and on that time voters turnover percentage was 67.11%. It means sometimes it is upraising and sometimes it is downraising. But what's the important thing? The important thing is the participation of the people to elect their representatives for the parliament. That shows the percentage of the population who voted in the Lok Sabha elections in different years. Yes, just we had discussed about the table, and it has been observed that representatives democracy cannot produce a perfect reflection of society. The important fact you have discussed with me that the total produce cannot had a perfect reflection of the society, because sometimes it is uprising, sometimes it is downrising. There is a realization that when interests and experiences separate us, it is important to ensure that communities that have been historically marginalized are given adequate representation. सो हम क्या देखते हैं, अभी भी हमारे यहाँ पे क्या हो रहा है बच्चों, जैसे ही इलेक्शंस होते हैं, पॉलिटिकल मेंबर्स, पॉलिटिकल पार्टीज़, दे इशूड कास्टिज्म सिस्टम कि आपकी जाति का है, आपको वोट देना है। तो ये जो सिस्टम है, क्या यह सही है क्या? नो, दिस वन इज़ नॉट. The adult will elect the very well representative who had qualities of the great members of the parliament. With this in mind, some seats are reserved in parliament for SCs and STs. Why these seats are reserved for SCs and STs? Because on that time some adequate representation was there, as we had already discussed about this one, and we see that main important thing that these SCs and STs have no on that time reservations. But after that what happens, student? Some seats are reserved in parliament for SCs and STs. It means all people had equal representation in parliament, whether they are of any caste. This has been done so that the MPs elected from these constituencies will be familiar with and can represent Dalit and आदिवासी इंटरेस्ट इन पार्लियामेंट. और हम यहाँ पे क्या देख रहे हैं बच्चों, ना सिर्फ हर जिले से, हर जगह से, हर राज्य से रिप्रेजेंटेशन हो रहा है, बट द इम्पॉर्टेंट थिंग इज कि ऑल ऑफ द कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन कवर्स ऑल दीज थिंग्स, वेदर represent Dalits, whether represent Adivasis in parliament. Similarly, it has more recently been suggested that there should be reservation of seats for women also. Yes, women had equal right with the man, and with the reservation of SCs and STs in parliament, some seats are reserved for women also in parliament, and that's why equal participation is there. This issue is still being debated. Yes, sometimes very less number of women are there in the parliament, so this issue is still being debated by every person. When we are discussing about all these things, main thing occurs that 60 years ago only and only 4% of MPs were women, and today it is just above 11%. See the pricing of the ratio of the members of parliament, especially women's parliament members, 4% when we discussed about 60 years ago, and when we are discussing about today's position, then today's position is just above 11% participation of women in the MP's representation. This is a small share when you consider the fact that half of the population are women. अभी भी क्या बच्चों आपको लगता है कि ये रिप्रेजेंटेशन वुमेन्स का सही है पार्लियामेंट में? नहीं. क्यों? क्योंकि अभी भी हम क्या देखते हैं, half of the population are women and they had not their own representation in the parliament. So the position at present is not in a good condition. It is issues of this kind that force the country to ask certain difficult and often unresolved questions about whether our democratic system is representative enough. Yes, this is the main question arises here, and we have to think about this one. Important thing we have to discuss in this one, the fact that we can ask these questions and are working towards answers is a reflection of the strength and the faith that people in India have in a democratic form of government. So the concept here is that in the parliament, what happens, students? With Lok Sabha, with Rajya Sabha, we have our members of the parliament, and with the parliament members, we have our own representatives of our own regions, and these are SC, STs, Dalits, tribal peoples, women, and every representation. Yes, seats are reserved for Dalits, seats are reserved for SC, STs, women. So every region had their own representative and they arise questions. And I think the concept is totally clear in your mind that why we need a parliament and what's the important role of parliament in making laws. In making laws, yes, C point, law making. We will discuss this one in our next chapter, but today we are completing our chapter reading session of third chapter, and in the next part we will discuss about the question answer session. So stay with us. Have a nice day.